This is going to be great. So today we have Jesse Watt with us, who is a case manager currently?
I'm currently a supervising case manager. I supervise clinicians as well. I'm currently 40 years young, and I'm from San Clemente, California. Right. Beautiful San Clemente, California. I have almost 6 years clean. My recovery date is March 27th, 2015.
What made you want to get sober in the first place?
I've tried to get clean for, I think the first time I originally came into the program was 1997. I was down, 17 years old, I was down in San Clemente, getting high at a friend's house. I ended up doing a shot of heroin and overdose. I remember I've overdosed probably about 17 times and double digits needing medical intervention to wake up from. But this time, it was the first time I overdosed. I remember waking up with my friends hitting me in the face, freaking out. And it was the most bizarre, surreal feeling because I was awake and coherent, but I couldn't breathe. I was still extremely loaded. I could breathe finally. And they, instead of driving me to the hospital, they drove me to San Clemente Presbyterian Church and sat me in an NA meeting and then left me. Yeah, so it was kind of a bizarre, first introduction. Yeah, because I was out of it, kind of just, half in, half out, falling asleep in a chair, and around a bunch of people that were missing teeth, trying to give me some help. Yeah,
like hugging and stuff. It was NA?
It was an NA program or meeting. Yeah. Originally, I wanted to get clean for this last time was I was in a relationship with this girl, and I found out she was pregnant with my child. I decided I want to clean up and actually try and start a family with this girl. And so I went and checked myself into treatment, only to find out about 5 days into detox, she lost the child and got back on heroin.
All right, so fast forwarding back to now, you're a KDEC 2. At what point did you realize that was something you wanted to do?
Back in 2001, went to Saddleback College because it was a requirement. I'd gotten arrested and gotten put into drug court diversion program in lieu of serving 3 years in prison. So one of the requirements of drug court was to actually take a college course. So I took a human services college course and then kind of got my foot in the door there. A few years went by, I was still getting loaded. I went on methadone and decided, hey, maybe I'll give college a try again. So I went back to school for drug and alcohol counseling and actually did a majority of my drug and alcohol counseling school while I was on methadone maintenance.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Was in and out of some trouble. So I went to an indigent rehab to try and get off of probation called the Rock Center, right? I don't, it's not around anymore. They run out of funding, but of course I met a girl in treatment and found the love of my life, right? She was a little bit further ahead of me in the program and was out on job search. I found out she relapsed, right? So I pretended to go on job search and went over to that parking lot. She met me. I did a shot of heroin and then pretended to overdose and then really did die. So I overdosed after that and woke up being cut out of the car by paramedics at Westminster Hospital. They had put a catheter in me. So I came to and I realized, hey, I got to get back to rehab. I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
So
find out you're gone.
So they're holding me down like, no, you had a really bad overdose. You lost some oxygen in your brain. We need you to stay here for a couple of days and make sure you're okay. And I said, no, I got to get back to rehab, right? So I start pulling this catheter out myself, and it just kept coming. And I got up and put my clothes on, and then as I'm leaving the hospital, they're like, hey, we're going to have to call the cops because you're, wellness check. You're going to die possibly if you go out there. And while I'm leaving, I'm like, I got to pee. This is the most bizarre feeling, right? I try to use the restroom and nothing's coming out. And then a burst of air comes out. But this is the drug addict stuff here. Okay, so after that, I realized, hey, I'm going to get in trouble because you know, you're not. They frown on using heroin in that rehab.
It's frowned upon.
Frowned upon heavily in the substance abuse treatment field. So I went to another hospital and said I had a migraine, and they gave me a shot of Dilaudid. So I had the paperwork from that to bring to the rehab.
Creative, and you probably graduated the program.
I did. They caught me a couple weeks later, but yeah, I got away with it that time. Not a proud moment.
We are lucky that you are on the other side of the fence now.
We both are.
Yeah, so I think the community is at large, and I know addicts are too, because you're really good at what you do now.
I don't want to gloss this over though. I pushed air out of me.
You know, and if I said that was your low point, I'd probably be lying, you know, because that's not even the worst story I've heard. But here we are, and you've had, you know, you're a case manager, head case manager, right?
Yeah, drug and alcohol counselor, all that fun
stuff. You've been a program director at a detox facility.
I have, correct.
How many different facilities have you worked at now?
I've worked at 4 different facilities, and in the 6 years I've been working in treatment.
Yeah, you've been pretty much without a day off since I've known you in the last few years.
I'd say probably the amount of addicts that I've had under my care is up around 2,000.
Yeah.
I can't honestly say that I don't know of too many, if any, that haven't had what would be considered a co-occurring disorder. Mm-hmm. To what severity? I mean, that's up for debate.
You just took your KDAC exam recently, right?
I took the ICNRC exam about 3.5 months ago, 4 months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
passed it with flying colors.
Right. I mean, after what's nice about working in the field for so many years prior to taking it is you get to enter as a KDAC too. You don't have to start.
Correct.
I don't even know if they have the CAS anymore. They're constantly changing the ladder, but. You know, your experience speaks for itself. But I remember when you were studying for the exam, one of the things that I was really bad with that you seemed to take a liking to or a knowledge to was pharmacology and sort of that sort of stuff.
Pharmacology and physiology, yeah.
Yeah, so with your experience working with a lot of mental health clients in treatment, you know, something I remember struggling with as a client, as a patient, on medication and trying to get sober was establishing a healthy baseline, right? So a lot of the symptomology associated in some of these clusters in mental health could be very similar to early recovery. And so, you know, my issue with a lot of the treatment centers I've worked at is we're over-medicating people before we establish that baseline. There has to be a certain amount of suffering in the beginning. Mm-hmm. You know, we can't just have these clients coming in, you know, and taking away that pain and treatment and by medicating them and then sending them home without even knowing if that's the right medication.
So being able to take that edge off without over sedating, without putting them on an elongated medication management to be able to of course alleviate some of their symptoms and make their withdrawal manageable, but not pain-free. You got to pay the piper a little bit, and that's how it is. You know, there's no getting around it.
Anyway, all right. Well, thank you for stopping by, and hopefully we can do this again. I'm sure we'll be able to get something out of that.
Dude, Ian.